So the first thing I want to discuss is basically why Obsidian, for people who don't know about it yet or are curious about it, thinking about starting to use it. Basically, Obsidian is what is called a tool out. So it's a tool that you can use to take notes and think. So it's not just a notepad, but actually an application that is intended to help you organize your thinking, your thoughts, your writing, things like that. So it's quite powerful, actually, especially through the different community plugins that extend the base functionality of the app. And so here is a screenshot of the UI of Obsidian. So it works on desktop and on mobile. There are many, many things that make Obsidian truly special. And I've actually listed a few of those. The reasons I think are making Obsidian stand out compared to other applications that are similar to it. So to me, first, it's a way to easily capture information coming from all kinds of sources. That's, of course, something that you can do in various ways. So you can take screenshots, you can save files, you can create Word documents, etc. But the nice thing about Obsidian is that you can centralize everything in one space. And that's valuable because that enables to connect the different ideas. So if you have work-related documents, you have personal documents, depending on whether you are allowed or able to do that or willing to do that. But at least you have the opportunity, if you want and if you can, to connect all of the pieces together. And when I speak about pieces, those can be images, those can be notes, those can be videos, audio files, basically all sorts of inputs that you can collect and connect together. As I said, it's a tool for thinking. And so one big argument for using something like Obsidian or other tools of the same kind is that you can actually use those to have a space where you can actually think more deeply. So not just you alone with your brain, but actually you alone with a tool that supports your thinking, that can organize it visually, and also that can help you remember all of the things. So if you have meetings at work, then you can use a tool such as Obsidian to take notes about the meeting, keep track of the decisions that were made, keep track of the commitments, the discussion points, the important outputs. And this applies to any context. So not only at work, but also in your personal life. And lastly, I would say that it's also beneficial to use such tools to organize yourself. So as a worker, a knowledge worker, having a space where you can centralize all of the information about your ongoing projects, upcoming projects, your priorities, your deadlines, you can actually leverage one tool to manage all of those different aspects instead of having one app for each specific purpose. And that's actually a point that I'm making in my course about knowledge management when I touch upon everything related to productivity, is that the fewer tools you can get away with, the better, because the fewer tools you have, the less costs you're going to have, the more integration you're going to get for free. You're going to avoid all sorts of integration issues. So if you have an application for task management and an application for your notes, then those two are disconnected. And if you want to see everything in one place or connect one to the other, then you have to dive into integration things that are oftentimes problematic and not stable in time. So things break. Your task management application is going to release a new version that's going to break things or change the way things work. And the integrations that you had put in place will start not functioning anymore. And so these are different reasons for which I think that using something like Obsidian, not necessarily Obsidian, but I do think that it's one of the best options out there, is beneficial. So for thinking, for personal organization, for productivity, and basically for leveraging the knowledge for action. So the goal is not just to accumulate notes, and it's an important point. The idea is actually to do something useful with those. And with practice, you can build an approach where you can really leverage the information instead of just accumulating information. But that's maybe not the topic that we should dive in today. Do you have questions so far? So don't hesitate if you have questions or remarks. It's an open room, so it's not just for me. Okay, now a few points about Obsidian specifically. So what I discussed so far are, yes, reasons to use Obsidian, but not specific to Obsidian. So now I want really to focus on the actual benefits of using Obsidian versus something like Tana or Notion or whatever other apps that you may have heard of. And there are many reasons. These are a few of those that I've captured over time. And I do think that those are the most important ones. So first, Obsidian is free. So you can use it for both personal purposes or for professional use. So this is accepted and covered by the license of Obsidian. So it's okay to use it for work. It's very fast. And I think that this is a key feature of Obsidian because when you are thinking and you are writing things down and you are exploring ideas, you don't want the tool that you are using to slow you down. And I will compare here Obsidian with Notion. Notion is great. It has tons of features, but to me, it was really too slow. When I was using Notion and I wanted to create a new page, that operation would take seconds. And this is time that I do not want to waste, while I would rather want to capture information or think. And so the fact that Obsidian is fast is really key, I would say, and quite unique because there are not that many thinking tools that are as fast as Obsidian. It's also cross-platform, so you can use it on Windows, on Linux, and Mac OS, so different operating systems. So if you are switching from one to the other, then it's okay. You can use everywhere and also on mobile. I'm personally not using it much on mobile. For me, it's mostly read-only on Android, but it works. So people use it. There are certain limitations, but not too bad, I would say. Another big point of Obsidian is that it stores everything locally. So it's not like you're trusting some third-party provider with all your thoughts, all your notes, all your private documents or images and whatnot. It all stays yours. So everything that you see here, we are within Obsidian. This is my vault, so where my data is stored. And this is actually a folder on my computer. So it means that it's all stored on my machine and no one else has access to it unless I want to. So if I publish my notes, then people will get to see those. But other than that, by default, everything works offline and locally. You have complete ownership of your data and your security. Also, specifically around knowledge management, so this idea of capturing information, organizing, thinking, etc. Obsidian has great features. So it has the ability to create links between different nodes. By the way, you can see some of those here. So here I have a node to JSON Canvas node. There I have other links. And so this is a major feature that most knowledge management apps have. Now you have also backlinks. And backlinks is when you link to something else, that something else knows that you have created a link to it. And so you can navigate between the source of a link and the destination of a link. And you can do it both ways through the links and backlinks. And I will demonstrate this. So for instance, here I'm looking at a node called Benefits of Obsidian, and it has a link to JSON Canvas. And now if I click on this one, and I show here on the side, I have a view I can use. I think it's taking a bit of time to load. So here I have a view that is called backlinks, and the backlinks lists all of the nodes that have a link to this specific node. And this is great because it makes it easy to navigate between ideas. Because if I were just looking at the content here, I wouldn't know that it relates to some other nodes or that some other node has mentioned it. But because Obsidian has support for backlinks, I can quickly find this one here and go back to it. So this is quite valuable. So now you have the graph view. I would say that story feature, I will demonstrate it later. You have nested tags. You have different levels of support for tagging. So it's a way to categorize information, find it back more easily, more efficiently, and many, many more features. Now, Obsidian, I will come back to this, uses the Markdown syntax. And so everything that you see here on screen is actually Markdown. So it's an open syntax for writing text files with some decorations, I would say. So here I have a Markdown list. Here I have a heading. Here I have a link. And so this is a small set of syntactic elements that you can use thanks to Markdown within Obsidian to make your notes nicer. So if I want to have this word in bold, I can hit Control B. But as you can see, it's different from things like Google Documents or Microsoft Word. Here, what you have is just special characters that define that this specific word should be in bold. And if I move this around, then I get this in bold rather than just one word. And the nice thing is that the syntax is part of the document itself. Anyways, one more important feature of Obsidian that I would say is highly relevant and valuable is that it's highly customizable. So I will close this down because it's quite slow at the moment. Don't know why, but not at the moment to do this. The fact that Obsidian is highly customizable is really important because it means that you are not limited by the provider's capability or willingness to implement features. So with Notion, for instance, all you get is what the team behind Notion builds and gives you access to, or third-party developers that hack onto the platform in some way to provide you with additional features. Obsidian is different because it has this set of community plugins and a way for developers to build extensions. And the nice thing about that is that given that the community of Obsidian is huge, and that's another huge benefit of using Obsidian, there are many software developers that are building on top of Obsidian and providing many, many additional features. And this has pros and cons. I will come back to this, but it's nice to have because it gives you the ability to extend the software to do various things. And I will discuss some of those. Okay, I think that these are the main things. One last point, it's about privacy. It's the fact that Obsidian does not track whatever you are doing with Obsidian. So it's not like they know about you creating notes or storing specific information or how much you use it or not. They don't track any of that. And that's also great. Anyways, I think that the best way to explain or show why Obsidian is really cool is just by using it. And actually, all of this presentation is within Obsidian, so it's a practical presentation, I would say. So this we don't need. The first concept that we need to understand about Obsidian is the concept of a vault. So the idea is that all of your nodes are stored in a vault, and a vault is just a folder on your computer in which your nodes will be saved. So your nodes, but also attachments, images, whatever you decide to add to Obsidian. So here on the bottom, you have the Manage Vault option. Unfortunately, you will not see the window, so I will stop sharing and share again. Just give me a second. The first time you open Obsidian, normally you would see something like this. So this window enables creating or switching between different vaults. So I have created an empty one, but I'm going to create a new one just for the demo. I'm going to store this in my computer somewhere, doesn't matter too much. And you can see that here I have chosen a vault name and I have chosen a location. So this is where the files will be stored on my computer. And now that it's been created, I need to share the other window again. So now we are within the new Obsidian Vault. And so this is basically a folder for now containing a single node. So you can see all of your nodes here on the left. You have here in the center the editor, and there on the side, a graph view. This one we will see later. And so if we just focus on the user interface of Obsidian, it can feel overwhelming for newcomers, but it's actually not that complicated. So you have three different spaces, I would say. You have the left pane with different views that you can switch between here on the top. Then you have the ribbon here for quick actions that you can click upon just to do useful stuff here on the left. You have the settings at the bottom, so switching between different vaults, the settings, the user help. Here on the center, you have the editor, and on the side, you have also a sidebar that you can switch. Actually, it's the same on the left, so you can switch the left toolbar as well. And again, here on the right, you have different views that you can switch between. Now, the thing is that you don't need to use those at first. It doesn't matter too much. So you can start with just going here in a view that is called File Explorer, and you can just right-click and create new notes, or click here to create a note, or there to create folders to organize your notes. And that's not much more complicated than that. And actually, as a starting point, I highly recommend to anyone starting with Obsidian to just do this for a while, because at the end of the day, what matters is not really adding complexity and installing plugins and doing complex things within the tool, playing with it, but it's actually using it and leveraging the information. And this you can do without much complexity, if at all. So the main views that we are going to explore are these ones. I will also show different things that you can do with Obsidian. Don't hesitate to ask if you have questions, specific questions about Obsidian or the starter kits, and I will try to answer those. I'm just following a trail of thought, let's say, to explore the features of Obsidian first, and then diving into the Obsidian starter kit to better give context about what it's valuable for. So here, as I said, you can create new notes, notes about whatever, and you give it a name, then your node is created. And if you look at the folder inside of your computer, you will find that file. It's actually a file that you even can open it right here using show in System Explorer. This is going to use, for instance, the Windows Explorer or the Finder or macOS to show you the file. And it's actually a huge benefit of Obsidian because since everything is stored locally, it means that you can open everything using any note-taking application, not only Obsidian. And that's nice because some other tools either are stored on the web, and so you rely on a database from a provider, or they are stored locally, but inside, let's say, proprietary files that you cannot edit easily. And this is not the case with Obsidian. All of those files are actually Markdown files, and Markdown files are actually text files. So you can open those with any editor on your machine to change the contents. And it's all right to do it. So you don't have to just use Obsidian to edit your content. So here on the left, you have your files. You can organize by folders if you want, and you can just move things around. So these are features of this File Explorer view. So it's a way to organize your information here inside of Obsidian. When you click on a node, you can see that it changes the node that is currently displayed here in the center. And here in the center, it's a bit like a web browser. So you have tabs, and you can add new tabs. Then you can switch between those. Also, depending on which tab is currently active, when you click here, you are going to change actually the node that is shown within the active tab. But it means that if I have this welcome node open here, I can go to the new tab that is currently empty here and then click and open another node, or even the same if I want. That's all right. So these are basic features of the editor. Now, the nice thing about this UI is that you can completely customize the interface. So if I click and drag, I can actually move all of those tabs anywhere I want. So I can put those one on top of the other. I can also add new ones. Then I can split to the left, to the right. And this is nice because it means that you can see at the same time tons of different information or related information that you are thinking about. And what I often do while I'm taking notes is that I actually use it this way. So I just switch like this. I have 3 different spaces, let's say. And this might be a first source. This might be what I'm currently working on, and this might be another source. Any way you see fit. But the nice thing is that you get to see all of those at the same time, and you can, of course, select content, copy paste between the windows. Here I'm changing everything because it's just the same node that I'm showing, but I can copy content around if I want, etc. So would say these are the really core basic features of the UI. And that's already enough to get started. I mean, even the Markdown syntax that I'm going to discuss in a minute, it's not something that you absolutely need to learn right away. At first, you can just start writing because writing is thinking. So that's a good starting point. But then, of course, over time, what you want is actually learn the syntax that is used by Obsidian. So it's not a proprietary syntax. It's important to know is that Markdown is not specific to Obsidian. Markdown is an open specification. It means that anyone or any application can use it and support it. And actually, the Markdown syntax is supported by hundreds, if not thousands, of text editors. So you could use, for instance, Notepad. That works. You can edit the content without any issue. Any text editor, if you use something like Visual Studio Code, which is something made for coding, but you can also use it for editing Markdown content. And you have many, many, many others that you could use. So now let's discuss this Markdown syntax a bit because it's not that complicated. Basically, and before we get to that, I have to explain one more thing about these views. So here I said that you have this editor with this tab. And here on the top right, you can see that I have an icon that I can click. And it says that the current view is editing. And I'm indeed in the editing mode of my node. Now, if I click on this button, I'm switching to the read view. And in the read view, you can see that my cursor is not within the node. All I can do is read the content. So this is nice when you are just reading things for reference, but don't want to change. And you can switch between the read view and the edit view using that button. Now, one more thing that you can do if you click here on the 3 dots while you are in the editing mode, you can also, by the way, switch between those modes here. So I can disable the reading view. If I am in the editing view like this, so I can edit my notes, what I can do is actually click on a source mode. And source mode is very often useful because it enables you to actually see the file exactly as it stands on your computer. So this is exactly what you would see if you open that file with a simple notepad, for instance. And now, if I disable the source mode, we get what is called the live view. And the live view is something that changes. So you can, for instance, here I have a link to the importer. And if I just move my cursor into that link, so when I'm outside of it, you just see the rendered link, so the preview of the link. But if you move the cursor there, you can see the actual Markdown syntax. And so this live view is nice because it hides away the details of Markdown. Now, I'm a software developer, so I often prefer to use the source mode because I just prefer to see the whole thing, and I'm used to it. But I would say that for non-technical people, it might be best to use this view most of the time. But I will go back to the source mode because I want to actually show you what you can do with Markdown. So first thing to know about Markdown is that you can structure your notes easily. So you have support for headings. And this is the syntax that you use to define a heading. This is my first heading. And so this is a level 1 heading. Now, of course, you have text. Now, if I switch back to the editing, the live preview mode, you can see that this hashtag changes the way this gets displayed. So this is normal text, this is a heading. And you have different levels. So this is a level 2, this is a level 3. And this is quite easy. Once you get used to it, that's just the way you structure your documents. Yeah, that should be about enough about headings. I think that you can go to level 4, 5 or 6, I think. That's comparable to HTML. Let's try this. So I never use level 6, or I usually try to stop at 4 at worst, because that's just too complicated to maintain anyways. But you can see that we have different levels that you can use for the headings. So that's a first thing. Second thing is that you can make text bold. As I said, just adding 2 stars before, 2 stars after, or hitting, selecting the text and hitting Control B. So just like in any other text editor. And this does basically the same thing. You can see that Control B just replaced by this syntax, this Markdown syntax. You can also make text italic using underscores. And same thing, you can use Control I, just like in any other text editor, to do the same. What else? You can make quotes. This in quotes. So it's a nice way to have a visualization for quotes, just isolating it from the rest of the content. What else? You can do lists. So this is a list. So you just start your list by adding the dash and then a space. And lists can be indented. You just hit tab or have 2 spaces between those. And you can see that the list editor of Obsidian is quite nice. You can also do number lists. So you just hit 1 dot for the first element. This is the first, this is the second, and you can see that it increments automatically. So that's quite natural to use. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a tool for Tout if you are not able to make links between ideas. So if I have this first idea here, discussing whatever I want, and then I have this second idea there, discussing something else, but that might be related. What I can do using Markdown and with different syntax, I will explain, you can create a link from this node to this other node. And to do that, you just have to use this double bracket syntax. So you open once and second time, and then you can see that it auto-completes and processes me different things. And these things are actually nodes that I currently have in my system. You can see that those are the nodes that I have there. And so here I could, for instance, link to the welcome page. And this is a link now to that other node. I could also link to the second idea, and I can add links within lists if I want, or any other thing I want to do. All right, so these are links. Now, these are really central to the way Obsidian can be used and leveraged. Because what you want to have is connected ideas and not isolated ideas. And this brings me to the graph view that Obsidian has. I'm not a huge fan of it, but yeah, it's good to know that it exists. Most of the time, it's mostly a toy. So let me open it here. I will put it here on the side. By the way, that's another feature that I did not mention is that you can not only reorganize your tabs, but you can also drag views and nodes into any place. So for instance, here on the left, I could drag a node and have it display there, for instance, so like that. And if I close and open Obsidian again, then this node would remain there. So it can be used as just a simple way to just capture ideas about things, or to-do lists or whatever. That's the simplest version that you can have of that. Now, if I go back to my first idea, I have a link to welcome and I have a link to second idea. So, and in the graph view here, the global graph view of Obsidian, what you can see is how this specific node relates to these other ones. And if I switch to the welcome one, I will get to see how those links together as well. Now, there are two different levels. You have the local graph and the global graph. This is the global one. This is why it didn't change. So I was wrong when I said that you would adapt. This one always shows all of the nodes in your vault. So you can customize it. You can change colors, filter the information, whatever. I will show you my current global graph after, and you will see that or understand why I say that this is mostly a toy, because at scale, it's not something that you can use. It works with this toy example demo because I only have a few nodes, but imagine when you have thousands, it's not manageable. And those links are dynamic. So it's not like you choose their position and they remain in place. They just adapt and get somewhere and don't move from there. Now, another one that is a bit more interesting to use, I use it more often, is the local graph. So the local graph is similar to the global graph, but the difference is that it does not show all of the nodes and all of the links inside of your vault, but it shows the specific links that you have that relate to this one. So starting from this node, I am currently linked to the first idea. If I go to the first idea node, so now I'm on this one, then I have two links and I can see those two links. This works and is much more interesting. Why? Because the data that it's going to show you is much more limited. And so in that sense, it's more useful because you don't get to see hundreds or thousands of things here unless you have hundreds or thousands of links. But yeah, that's not recommended. So as I said, you can add links. That's one of the most important features of Obsidian, but you can also add external links. So this syntax is specific to Obsidian, let's say. You can use it to create links between nodes. Now, Obsidian also supports standard web links, Markdown links, sorry. And so if I want to create a link to this syntax, sorry, like this rather, this is going to create a link that displays as hello and points to google.com. And so the syntax to do that is you have a single bracket, you have the display text, so what is going to show when you look at that link. And then after the closing bracket, you have a parenthesis, the link that you want to have, and a closing parenthesis. Now, you can add those links in different ways. This is just the syntax so that you know about it. Now, of course, if you just do this and you can paste it, you can also have the link and it's going to be clickable if you control click on that one. That also works. Okay, so I demonstrated how you can use the base features of Markdown. Let's say you can do more than that, but that's really enough to get started. We have discussed a bit about the global graph, the local graph. I mentioned the backlinks earlier. So if we go to the welcome page here, you can see that it has a link from the welcome page. From the first idea node. And here I have also the outgoing links. So you have the backlinks, nodes that point to the currently selected node, and the forward links. So the links that you have or that this node has to other nodes in the system. So here I have a link to the welcome page, to the second one. Also, interestingly, that's specific to Obsidian, you have unlinked mentions. Unlinked mentions are interesting because they enable finding opportunities to add links. So here I just wrote welcome inside of these nodes. Now, if I go here, sorry. So we have the welcome node that is here. Yeah, this will be a bad demonstration because I'm thinking about something else. But anyway, this enables you to discover opportunities to add links between your nodes. So you might have created this welcome node after having created a link here. And thanks to the unlinked mentions, you would be able to find that out. But yeah, I forgot how to use it because I rarely use it, to be honest. But it makes me think about something else to mention is that you can also create links to whatever, even if that whatever does not exist yet. So in this case, you can see that I have created a link, but it points to a node that does not exist yet. And if I click on it, and that's really nice, I have the opportunity to create that node. And so it's a nice way to like create placeholder links that you know that at some point or that might be used later on. So I often do this when I have nodes that I know I want to create but don't have time to do it yet. And so what I do is create a temporary placeholder with the name I would want for the node, but I don't create it right away. And then I just add some nodes below. And this enables me, when I come back to it and have time, to take the content that I wanted to include and then control click and add the content, etc. Okay, now I will switch back to my main vault. So I just wanted to show you the base UI of Obsidian without additional noise. But yeah, I prefer to be in the context of my own vaults for the rest of the demo. And this will be more interesting, I think, because I will have more practical examples to show. You guys have questions so far? I don't know if I followed my plan quite closely because I was focused on it, but English, all right. Okay, so we are back. Let me just check the plan, see if I actually showed everything that was important to mention. So yeah, the status bar I did not mention. So here on the bottom right, you can see that I have different kinds of information. That's useful. Honestly, I rarely use that, but it can be useful. There are plugins that can also add content or information there. I'm not using it most of the time, but it's mostly a gimmick. But you can see the number of words that you have. You can see the number of pages. You can see stats about your vault, things like that. You can lock and unlock it. But yeah, these are just details. I don't rely on that a lot. So the status bar, the settings I will come back to later. The vault switcher we have discussed. I just want to mention some recommendations around that. So as I said, your knowledge base with Obsidian is stored in a folder, and that is called the Obsidian Vault. So the way to recognize the Obsidian Vault is simply that within that folder, you will see a hidden folder that is called .obsidian. And that's where Obsidian stores its configuration. That's where plugins get installed and things like that. Actually, it's best if I show you this because it will make more sense then. So let me check here and share that window instead. So here I have my demo vault that I created earlier. You can see here that I have the .obsidian folder. So here are my nodes. In that case, there were a single one. The other ones that we created were here. And now this is the content of my vault, and this is the folder that is used by Obsidian to store its own information. So I'm not going to mess with the content that you have here, but it's basically here that the complete configuration of the vault is stored. So which nodes are currently opened, what is displayed in the sidebar, what is the state of the app, have you installed plugins? If you have installed plugins, then you will also find your plugins actually stored there. The configuration of the plugins will also be in this folder. And so it's quite an important folder, because if you lose it, then you lose the whole configuration of the vault. You're not losing your data per se, because this is the rest, so outside of that folder, but you will lose all of the config, all of the settings, all of the data that Obsidian relies on to be able to open your vault in the same state as the previous time. Now, of course, if I just double click on one of these Markdown files, so .md files Markdown, as I said, I can just open those with any text editor. So why did I mention this about the Obsidian Vaults folder? It's because when you create a vault, you create not only a space to store knowledge, but also the plugins and their configuration, and the whole thing is in there. And it's important because it can guide your decision so as to whether you should create and use a single Obsidian Vault or multiple ones? This is a question that I get a lot. My personal recommendation is to use a single one for as long as you can, and if you are allowed to. So let's suppose that you want to use Obsidian for personal and professional reasons. I would say that if your employer allows you to use Obsidian, then great. You can centralize all of the information into a single vault. Now, if you have, the sensitive confidentiality rules, data protection rules, data privacy, and things like that, that prevents you from doing it, then you might have to use multiple ones. But the value of having a single vault is that you can share. You only have to install the plugins once. You have only have to configure those once. So the configuration is shared, and most importantly, you can create links between personal and professional stuff. So here in my case, this is my node for today. I mix things professional and personal because that's okay for me. I work also as an employee for another company. I do not store any data from that company here because I cannot. So at that work place, I have different vault that I'm using. But if I were able to, I would use a single one. And the benefit there is that I can link any idea with any other, and that's nice. Anyway, let's go back to the plan. So we have discussed about the different views, the left things here. So you saw before the files explorer. So this one is more complete. This is my own Obsidian Vault with the structure. You have also the search view that you can use to search information in your vault easily. It supports different kinds of syntaxes. I will come back to this if we have a bit of time later, but basically it's doing full text search. So if I search for Obsidian here, I will find all of the nodes that contain the word Obsidian. You can see that there are 12,000 results, and this loaded in just a few seconds. So as I said, Obsidian is really fast. You can also filter by path. You can filter using tags. So I could find all of the nodes that have the tag Obsidian in my vaults. And in that case, I would find many fewer results than before. That's a very useful feature because it enables finding nodes that relate to a specific topic and that contain specific text. And so you can combine all of those criteria to find what you need when you need it. It's one of the key features of Obsidian because it's nice to be able to store knowledge, but if you cannot find it back, when you need it, then it's basically useless. All right, so we saw those. You can also create bookmarks. So you can just drag and drop, I think, nodes here to create a bookmark. No, bad idea. You cannot actually. So that was a bad demo. I thought you would be able to do this. But anyway, you can create bookmarks. So you create here, just add bookmark. Then you find the node that you want and you can add it there. I don't use it that much. I actually use a plugin that is called Notebook Navigator. I will try and take some time to discuss plugins later, but it's going to be tough to cover many of those today. But the Notebook Navigator plugin is nice because it shows you not only the same thing as the file explorer, so all of the files in your vault, but you also have your tags, your favorite ones, recent nodes that you have opened, and the equivalent of those bookmarks here with the shortcut. And this is basically everything in one place, so it's quite useful. So one thing that we have not discussed is the fact that you can add attachments. So not only can you create nodes, but Obsidian can also supports various types of files. So you can add images, you can add audio files, you can add PDF documents, Word documents, etc. Obsidian is not able to render all of the file formats, but it can render the most generally used ones, let's say. docx, for instance, Word documents, I'm not sure. I haven't tried it, so I'm curious about that one. But So now if I open a note about someone here, you can see that you can also embed attachments directly within your notes. And this uses different syntax in Obsidian. So there are two ways to do it, actually. The simplest one is, let's suppose that you have added files to your vault. So it's as simple as doing a drag and drop from the web or from any place. So your file explorer, whatever, inside of Obsidian. So you can place those attachments wherever you want. Then you can just drag and drop into the current nodes to embed it. So you don't have to necessarily know the syntax, but it's useful to know it. So the difference between classic links, which look like this, and embeds is that embeds start with an exclamation mark. So if I do here an exclamation mark, I double open, then it's going to help me find should I have hacking image here. You can just do this and it's going to embed that image. And that works also with video files. So if I have a link to a video, then I would be able to directly see it. So yeah, I don't have an ID here. I don't have a link, but this is the way you would embed a YouTube video inside of a note. Okay. We have attachments, media, search. I discussed a bit. I'm going to dive deeper in that. I want to discuss the quick opener because I forgot to mention it so far. Actually, when you want to navigate between nodes, the quick switcher is the best tool that you can use inside of Obsidian. Another great feature that Obsidian has is that it enables you to switch or to open nodes really, really fast. So here, if I hit Control O, it's going to open this quick opener. So don't mind the look of this dialog. It's specific because I have installed a plugin, but you will get something that looks a bit like that by default. And here, what is nice is that I can actually type and it filters down the list of nodes in my own vault. So I have over 12,000 now, and this is really, really fast. So I was on a note about DHH just a second ago. I can find it back. I'm learning about Omarchi at the moment, and I want to configure it. I can find those things quite easily. And if I click on that, it just opens it. And if I type this, I can switch to the other one. And as you can see, it's quite efficient. It's a very cool tool that you can use in Obsidian to quickly open nodes. And not only can it open nodes, but it can also create new nodes. Hello, world nodes. Say that this one does not exist. Normally, I can Control Enter and it will create this node. Yeah, in this case, it just recognized the other ones, but you can also create nodes easily with the quick opener. Another feature that I love about Obsidian is the command palette. It's inspired by software development tools. And basically, it's a way to execute commands. And so you have built-in commands that Obsidian supports through its own internal features and plugins, but also commands that are added by community plugins. So developers in the Obsidian community built plugins, and if you install those, some of those include commands that become available inside of your vault. And so, for instance, we could use this to add a tag. We can add a file property. You can do all sorts of stuff with those commands. I do not use commands all day long, but there are some commands that are really useful. Right now, I'm actually building a new Obsidian plugin, and this one will enable creating new nodes using specific templates and structure and whatnot. And so I could do this, execute this command, and now it does something. I could also add missing metadata to my current nodes, and this would add whatever is missing in the current node. I can also create canvas or create a node. You can also do that from the commands, and these are built-in commands with Obsidian. Yeah, and I don't have time to cover all of those, but basically, most of the things that you can do through the buttons and the context menus in Obsidian, you can do also using commands. Yeah, one more feature I want to demonstrate. It's quite cool, quite recent in Obsidian. It's Obsidian bases. So Obsidian bases are like Notion databases. So as shown here, this is an Obsidian base. It's like a special kind of nodes that you can create and use within Obsidian that renders information in your vault. And so the idea is that by default, if you create a base, it's going to list every file and node inside of your vault, inside of your Obsidian vault. But using this filter button there, you can filter the information down. And so you could say, I only want to show the nodes that are within this folder in my vault, or I want to see only the nodes that include this in their title, or that contain this tag, or that mix different filter rules, let's say. And so, yeah, the best way to understand it is to use it. So I'm going to create here a new base. Again, I can do it using this, create base, create a new base. And so now I have created a base. Now, another thing to know about bases is that they have filters. So this is a way to filter the information, but they also have views, and views are different ways of showing the filtered information. So here I have currently just a row list of all of the nodes inside of my vault. Now I want to filter this down, and I want to filter this down for all of the views, and not only this specific one. And so here I'm going to search for instance, the tags, and I want to find all of the persons that I have in my Obsidian vault. And now you can see that the result list has changed. I have many fewer results, and I actually have only person nodes displaying. I could also say, instead of person nodes, I want to have all of the nodes that are in our 10 meta folder. This is going to list those. And I can combine using additional filters. So I could have files that link to something else in my vault. In this case, I have no results, but maybe there's one. Yeah, this one. And so the way to think about it is as a database. It creates from the content in your vault a database that you can use and leverage. And so it can be used for various purposes. I will take concrete examples instead of made up ones, because I do have example bases. I have this book space that is included in my Obsidian Starter Kit, and this is a base that is dedicated to my books, not the ones that I've written, but the ones that I'm reading or that I want to read. And you can see here that I have different views. So this is the reading view. So it only lists, we look at the filters, it lists all of the books that are currently reading. So if I look at the overall filters, so for all of the views, I am only interested in nodes that I have to tag book, and the nodes is the book notes. Yeah, that's a detail. Let's forget about it. But only the nodes that have a status of reading. And this brings me to another point that I haven't mentioned so far about Obsidian, is the fact that you can add metadata and properties to your nodes. And when I discuss about Obsidian basis, it's actually quite central. So I will do a small parenthesis, let's say, to explain what you can do with properties. So if I go to a node, this is the node that I have in my knowledge base about Obsidian basis. You can see on top that there is this properties thing that you did not see before, because we didn't have properties in the demo that I did earlier. Properties in Obsidian are a way to add metadata about nodes. So this is a node about Obsidian basis, and inside of the properties, I have added a set of tags. So I mentioned earlier filtering based on tags like type/book here. You can add as many tags as you want to your nodes. That's one. Second, you can add different properties. So you could click here on add property, just type any name. So this could be like the origin of this information, and I could say, okay, found it on Google, whatever. Whatever. A good example. I'm bad at demos, by the way. But you can add as many properties as you want to your nodes. Each property has a specific type. So if you click here on the left of the property name, you click there and select property type, then you can see the different types of properties that are supported by Obsidian. So you could have a checkbox. Here, I want something that is enabled. So I could have like a done flag for my nodes, and I could just check it and uncheck it. And what's cool is that those properties that you can add here inside of your nodes, you can leverage those inside of the Obsidian bases. And it's actually what makes it so powerful. So it's not only the filtering and the views, but the fact that for each view that you have in the base, you can display the different properties that you want and that are available on those nodes, or whether those properties are there or not. So here I've displayed, for instance, for book notes, the title property. Maybe it's best that I open one of those so that you can get to see an actual useful example. I just need to clean this up, like every stuff in my notes. So here I have my notes about Purple Co. Nothing much to show for now. But you can see that I have these properties. And here I have many properties, actually. So I have the status of that book note in my system. So basically, that's how I track whether I have read the book yet, whether I'm reading it, etc. The title, subtitle, I have the description, different categories that are related to this book. Who has written the book? So in this case, it's not the way I want to define it. I rather want to have a link like this. So it's good to know that for list properties, so properties of type lists, you can have different entries. And so it's nice to know that you can not only type raw text inside of those, so that displays right there, but you can also add links to that. And I use that more and more right now, especially since we have this base feature, because see here in the authors column, now that I have updated the node to include a link, I can actually click on that link here to open that node. And that makes metadata properties much more interesting in that sense. That's why I need to go back to all of my nodes to update those things. By the way, note that you don't have to open the nodes to edit the metadata properties. So if you display those in a base, then you can leverage the base to edit the contents directly. And that makes it really, really nice, because bases basically enable not only finding the right information, filtering the information, viewing it in different ways, but also editing it at scale. And that's why it's one of my favorite features right now. Just to continue, you can drag and drop properties to rearrange the view. You can hide columns. You can now summarize. That's brand new. I haven't used it yet, but I think I will build some summaries soon. So for instance, here I could have a summary of how much time I have spent reading, or how many pages I have read this year, or whatever. You can imagine many things using that. Details, I'm not going to cover that for now. You can also show and hide properties just by going here. You can also create and use formulas within bases. So formulas are expressions, a bit like programming, let's say, that you can use to calculate information dynamically for your content. Here I have a formula. We are going to click here, right-click on the title of the column, and then edit formula. This is a complex one, thank you AI, that I have used to basically calculate how many days I have spent reading my book so far. So it uses the property date started that is on that node. So you can see it here. We have date properties as well. And then it does some logic to calculate, okay, today we are at this date. I started reading at that date. So what's the delta between those two? That's what the long expression does. But the result is that you get a dynamic property based on the formula, the result of the formula for each specific node. So apparently, I've been reading Purple Core for almost a year. I think that's quite accurate. That's fine. I'm not in a hurry most of the time when I'm reading stuff. But that's nice to know that you can have those expressions to basically do tons of things. And I will show you many more examples. Now, another type of view that you can have with Obsidian Basis that I really love is cards view. So here, if I click on the little angle bracket, you can see the details of the view, so you can customize the title, and the layout is what you can customize. So out of the box, Obsidian provides a table view that we saw before, the cards view that we are looking at now, and the list view that we saw at first. So I can switch actually between those, and this will show me a list of the content. Not very useful like that, so I prefer in this case to use a card view. And the cards view work pretty much the same way as the tables. So you can display and hide information within the cards, the different cards. So the cards are just entries, and these can be or not the same that you showed on a different view. I don't know if I'm clear about this, but basically I am currently on this all cards view. And this specific view uses the following filter. In this case, it's actually no filtering for this specific view. So it just uses the global filter that applies to all of my views inside of this base. Yeah, maybe too many details here about the basis, but I do want to show you a few more things that I think are valuable with this. So this is nice because when I have this, I can say, okay, I want to read a fiction book, but I only want to see those that I haven't read yet. So let's filter those. So I'm going to take status and it's not read. Yeah, like that's okay. Oh, I have these to read. Oh, yeah, this one. That's the one that was recommended by a friend of mine. Should take a look at it. And then you can go to your node, update status, and read it, and yeah, whatever. What I like also about bases is that you are not limited to one Obsidian base. You can actually create as many Obsidian bases as you want. So I just demonstrated the book space, but I actually have many other ones in my system. So I have this people base, for instance, that I use for managing relationships and tracking people I am inspired by, let's say. And you can use those in the same way to capture information about people. So in this case, for people of interest, persons of interest, I can store when they were born, when they died, if they are dead, their death anniversary, their website, their Wikipedia page, the tags, and other things if I want. I can see them as cards as well, but this requires adding images to your vault. So just to make this more concrete, if I take this notebook on Schwartz, you can see that, actually I missed something there, doesn't matter. You can see that this node has a property. The name doesn't matter, but it's just a property that stores the location of the image for that person within my vault. But this enables basically displaying those because here, wait, let me think, how is it done already? Yeah, I forgot the way it's done, basically. I think now it's here. So here I have the public figures cards, and there is this image property setting that you can use. Basically say, okay, this is how you will find the picture back. In this case, it points to a formula, but I could use the picture local path, and this would work for most. Not for all, because the formula basically either uses the image of the person if it is available, or it falls back to a generic image. That's why I have used that one. Yeah, I think that's about enough information about basis. Just one more example that is interesting, I think, or two. Let's stop at two. I have this base for action. So I have this action base in my vault. This is what I use for organizing my goals and tasks and work in general. And all of the bases that I'm showing are parts of the Obsidian Starter Kit, so they come pre-configured with the different views and columns and formulas. And so if you use that, then it's not something that you have to build from scratch. Now, of course, if you want to customize it, you will have to learn about the syntax for formulas and whatever features. But most bases that I have here in my vault, they all come along with the Obsidian Starter Kit. Yeah, so the actions base, just to focus on this one for a second, uses also custom views. So this is coming thanks to a plugin that I'm using inside of the Obsidian Starter Kit and in my vault, which is called Task Notes. And this ties back into what I said earlier in the discussion about the fact that you can use Obsidian not only for taking notes and thinking and capturing information, but also for organizing work. I'm actually organizing everything that I do for my company and for my writing and whatnot through Obsidian. And so you can, thanks to this view inside of Obsidian Basis, manage your tasks, mark things as done, have columns that map to the different states of the information. And these are custom views that have been provided by a plugin. So you don't get those out of the box in Obsidian, but the plugin that I mentioned added those views to Obsidian, and that's nice. You can actually have the same Kanban view here. So it's a command, task notes, open Kanban board. It shows the same thing. It's just that I have two different paths. And since I have built this action space, and since they have added support for embedding the Kanban view, then I combine everything in one place and I don't have to rely on this one. Too much information. I said it earlier, but if you have questions, remarks, whatever, just ask me. It's not a one-way discussion. Because I could discuss this for 10 or 20 hours if you wanted to. So basically, this action space, I think it's a good demonstration of the power of Obsidian Basis. So not only do you get the current focus inside of this view, so I know things that I have prioritized. So this, didn't mention, but you can also sort the information in a base and in a view here with different criterias. I have views that enables me tracking my goals. So these range from short-term to very long-term things. And so I can have different time frames for the things that I want to achieve. So for instance, now I was focusing recently on upgrading the Obsidian Starter Kits. That's a done deal now. I'm working on improving the usage of AI that I make in different domains. And all of those goals I can track. I can track personal goals, professional goals, short-term, long-term, whatever. I can do this with this single dashboard in one place and prioritize everything and track the status as well. Then I have the same, so I can track my plans. So let's say that my goal is to achieve whatever within 1 year. Then I can have different plans. I can choose one. I can document those, and I can follow up on those and link those to other things in iVault. And now projects, so if we go one level down, so the goals are the things that I want to achieve, and the projects are basically the steps to get there. And so right now I'm busy with different short-term and mid-term projects. And again, I can track and prioritize those here. Whatever. Just an overview of this. yeah, this one is a bit more sensitive, but doesn't matter. Nothing really private in there for now. I haven't used it too much yet, but I plan to in the short term. Basically, I've built this Obsidian base for health tracking, health and habits. And so here I have views for my health in general, my mental health and balance, for sleep, for exercise. And so I can easily capture and analyze information about these different things in one place using this base. And so let's say that you have trouble sleeping. I have been having some issues for a while now. I need to track this information so that I can see trends, notice trends, and notice issues or patterns, and give me insights about where did this come from. So maybe I drink coffee too late in the afternoon, and then this causes me issues. And so by having this base, now I'm able to easily capture and organize this information and also see it all in one place. And so I can track the number of hours I have slept, the quality of my sleep. So I can say, maybe this is a 8, this was a good, nice sleep. When did I wake up? When did I go to bed? Some notes about my health. I do think that this is really valuable, and I think that it's a good showcase of the kinds of things that we can do with Obsidian bases now. So if you have medication, and same thing, you can do that. Nutrition, you can track what you've been eating, whether you've been fasting, your weight, whatever you want. And this is nice because I have built it with health in mind. Same way I built the other action space with health in mind. All of those views make sense in one specific context. And you could also create a single base and have hundreds of views there. That works as well. Anyways, I think that was maybe too long about bases, but I'm really in love with that feature. So one thing I want to mention, I will come back to this at the end of the discussion. These things that I'm showing, so you can see my vault structure there. You saw different Obsidian bases that I'm using. I discussed this plugin. All of those things are part of the Obsidian Starter Kit. I think that if you are here now, then you already know about it. But since I'm going to publish this on YouTube, that's why I'm mentioning it. It's one of the products I've built, basically based on my own experience. And my own usage of Obsidian. So basically, it's not just something that I sell. It's actually the thing that I'm using every day because I spent most of my days within Obsidian or alongside. I have Obsidian opened all day long. And so the Obsidian Starter Kit, just to explain it easily or simply, it's a combination of things. So first, it's a folder structure. So it's an Obsidian Vault that you can take and open and use as is. And it comes with multiple things. So first is the structure. You will get the folder structure that I use. So with the complete organization system for actions, so the goals, the plans, projects, spaces for organizing different kinds of nodes, information that we capture, information that you create, information that you share with others, voice notes, journal entries. So if you want to write every day, then you can also rely on the Obsidian Starter Kit to support that. So for instance, I can open my current daily notes, and this structure that you see here, so with those links and the progress and plan, structure of the note itself, the metadata that you see there, all of that is part of the Obsidian Starter Kit. And it makes it easy to create also notes because it comes with a set of templates. So here I have created the daily note for tomorrow, so tomorrow's date. And now I can just here to apply a template, and I'm going to apply the daily note template. And this creates my notes with the right structure, pre-configured, and properties that I want and need, and I can start writing down. And that's a huge time saver, and it helps with consistency. So of course, I'm trying to sell it, but I do think it has an added value if you are using Obsidian and you get to love Obsidian like I do. It's because it's just lessons learned that you can benefit from quite easily. And instead of trying to build everything from scratch, make all of those design decisions, finding the plugins that you need or want, etc., you can just use that and get started. And it's a big point that I've made in my course about knowledge management is that having built this, I'm not only proud, but it serves me well. I mean, I'm using this all day long. Each time I need to create a note, I have templates, and it's a breeze and it's easy to do. So it's a time saver now. But I recommend everyone against spending too much time fiddling with Obsidian. So the goal is not to fiddle with the tool or play with the tool, even if that's fine. The goal is actually to do something useful with the information. So, for instance, having my health base, I didn't build it just for pleasure. I built it because it's a tool that I'm going to use to better manage and track my health. I'm getting older little by little, and issues start adding up. And so I'm confident I need a way to track that kind of thing and to be able to explain my doctor about issues I've had, etc. Same thing with productivity, etc. But the thing is that it's not a good thing if you are getting started with note taking and knowledge management and Obsidian to just spend too much time finding out about all of the settings you can configure and all of the plugins that you can install and all of the ways in which each plugin can be customized. That's a waste of time. And I see this nonstop. That's why I take some time to discuss this. People spend a crazy amount of time and effort just trying to build a system from scratch, reinventing the wheel. And they spend days, weeks, months even doing that. But in the meantime, they are not actually learning the valuable skills, which are to actually write and leverage the knowledge to do something, to achieve some goal. It's not about information consumption and accumulation. That's not the point. And so that's why I'm discussing the Obsidian Starter Kit as well, and why I do think it's valuable. It's because it comes with everything done for you. And in the best case, you just don't even question or look into the details of how it's done. You just focus on what matters. And what matters is using the system. Anyways, big parenthesis, let's talk about that. So we discussed Obsidian Basis, the quick switcher, the command palette. What else can I show you? Yeah, Obsidian Canvas. So Obsidian Canvas is another huge feature of Obsidian. So Obsidian is not limited to text-based thinking. So that's what I prefer. Most of the time I'm using text to think. But Obsidian also supports the creation of canvas nodes. So just like Obsidian Basis, canvas nodes are special types of nodes that you can have in your system. It is based on an open specification. So this means that potentially, theoretically, you can open those canvas nodes with other tools. At the moment, I don't know any other tool that implements this specification besides Obsidian. So be conscious of the fact that if you use Obsidian Canvas, then Obsidian might be the only tool that you can use to edit those. I will discuss another alternative afterwards. But basically, with Canvas, what you can do is think visually. So you can add little cards like that. You can add text within those. You can use Markdown within those cards to do stuff. You can add links. So this is basically just like a note, except that this content only exists within this Canvas file. But that being said, it doesn't mean that you cannot reuse the rest of your notes. So we are busy with this workshop. You can see that I can actually embed existing nodes from my vault inside of the canvas. Similarly, you can also add images inside of canvas. So that's quite nice. You can actually also add external content. And so if you have a link to a YouTube video, you can embed it directly within the canvas. And if I'm not mistaken, it's also possible to embed other types of content within Obsidian Canvas. So I think bases are a good one. I can try this out. Base. So we have this. Which one can I take? One that we haven't seen yet. Yeah, creation space. Why not? And you can actually directly embed. You can directly embed a base inside of a canvas, and so it's an infinite canvas that you can use. Now it's completely unzoomed to think in depth about some things and leveraging the information that you have in your knowledge base and raw thinking that you can add. And so not only can you add those different things, but you can also link those like that. And again, these are just links that exist within this canvas. But if I open, for instance, this node and look at the backlinks, you remember those links that show that something else is pointing to the current node. This is not one of the backlinks I would see. It's not supported yet. So this link only exists here visually, let's say. You can also customize colors. So if you like this, you can do like that. You can change all of the colors to recognize different parts. You can embed videos. I think you can also embed web pages. So if you have a link to a web page, let's try it out. Maybe not like this. I don't remember because I don't do this quite often. But I'm pretty convinced that you can do it. Yeah, I just pasted the link into the node, into the canvas. And as you can see, indeed, you can directly get that here. Quite cool. It's really quite powerful. Yeah, just to show you, I have a few examples, canvas nodes. Let's check, yeah. Journaling overview. So this is a presentation that I did for the members of the community a few weeks back about journaling. This is a complex canvas, but basically it's to show you that you can actually do really cool stuff with those. So you can also group different cards together and then set a title. Those groups you can also link with other things inside of the canvas. Yeah, and don't worry about me breaking my my data. I can recover it afterwards. It's all right. But basically, I used this huge canvas to first think about the topic to prepare the presentation, but then I used it as a storyboard. I just followed the path from one idea to the next during the presentation. It was quite cool. I have other ones, but I think enough about Canvas. Canvas is really cool. Highly recommend. But as I said, it's limited to Obsidian at this point in time. So yeah, you might need to be wary about that. Now there is one similar solution that I want to mention. So it's not built in, but I do recommend using it. It's called excalidraw. So excalidraw is an open source project that supports creating an infinite canvas and drawing and adding information visually. And Salt has implemented an Obsidian plugin that integrates excalidraw within Obsidian. Now, the nice thing in comparison to Canvas is that actually you can do a lot more within excalidraw here than within Obsidian Canvas. So that's a good reason alone to use it. So if you explore a bit the features of excalidraw, I think you would soon see that it can do a lot more. So you can rotate, you can add content, you can add web content. So basically anything you can do in Obsidian Canvas, you can do in excalidraw, and then some more. You can rotate, you can add styles, you can add shapes, you can add images, rotate images, rotate text, and tons of things. Zolt is doing an amazing job with that plugin. Anyway, I think that I have broken my Obsidian board for a second. I need to reopen it, I think. Genius. Yeah, I've been having issues now that I have too many files, and sometimes it freezes, but I think I know why. We'll sort that out later. Any questions so far. I realized that I have never looked at the chat since the beginning. Sorry. Justin, I want to migrate. Yeah, if you want to migrate content that you have in day one, supposing that they support, depending on the format that they support for exporting information, you might be able to do this automatically. Now, specifically about the GPS locations, I have seen recently that Obsidian has added a new view for bases that supports maps, and it uses a location property. So let me check it out. So by the way, I will use another feature of Obsidian that is useful to know about is the web viewer. So the web viewer is basically a web browser window that you can use directly. So let's go to DuckDuckGo.com and let's search for what I'm looking for. So Obsidian Maps for babies. I wish this, I think, should be able to, this one. So in Obsidian, that's the latest version. I'm not sure it's available for everyone yet. It might be in preview, but it will be available in any case for everyone soon. It's early access. So early access, just so that you know, Obsidian has something called, let me open another one. Obsidian Catalyst. So Obsidian has something called Obsidian Catalyst, and it's a program through which you can buy a license that you have to renew each year. It's not that costly, but through this program, if you join the insiders for $25, I don't know if it's per month or per year. Sorry, I forgot that. I think it's per year, but I might be mistaken. Yeah, it's per year. With the insider, you get access to the preview releases of Obsidian. And currently, this map view that I want to discuss is in preview. And the map view is actually something that you can use with bases to display a map with property. So let's try it out because I haven't tried it out yet, but it's a good idea to give it a try. So I will use my time base for this. So inside of my daily notes, I have properties, and I will add, let me put this on the side. That's live experiment. Never used this feature so far. Sorry, just have to show the correct one. So properties here. Let's add coordinates. Coordinates, yeah. I'm going to add coordinates. And it's a list property, if I understand correctly. And we are going to just use the same. Yeah, I don't know if it's the way I should be doing it, but let's try it and we'll see. Maybe not with that. Yes, I suppose it should be able to interpret that. So I have now the coordinates property inside of my current daily node. And now if I open my time base, here, so it's 10:28. Okay, let's create a new view. Map view. Okay, we have a map view. All right. And the coordinates, I can filter. There I have my coordinates. Okay. Yeah, and of course, that's not just because I use a map view. I have to actually use the correct. I don't have it yet. Then, okay, so either I'm missing something or official community plugin. Wait. I need to install it then. Guess that. Let's see. Is it? Oh, maybe you can get it already then, because I thought it would have been inside of the core plugins, but here there's no mention of map, and they say that it's an official community plugin. That's a first, actually, for Obsidian. Obsidian. Maps by Obsidian. Oh, cool. All right, so I guess that you should be able to install it as well. All right, now I've got it. Now let's go back to this and see. Indeed, now we have the map type. Yeah, indeed, and I understand your point. I just mentioned about the migration because that might be annoying. So I have no idea about the location of the thing that I have added, but I don't see a point there. So maybe coordinates. I guess I'm not using the property the right way. Oh, oops. Can't stop jumping from one place to the next. Okay, let's go back here. All we have to do is find actually the right way to configure that. And since it's the first time, takes a second. I don't even know. I suck at geography. Are these valid coordinates? Okay. Yeah, like maybe what I can do is just copy the thing here. So, yeah, I didn't mention that so far, but as we saw, we have properties inside of nodes. That's nice inside of the UI. So when we are in the view or live view modes, we get to see those like this. But if I switch to the source mode, what we are going to see is what is actually present in the Markdown files on your computer. And these are the properties. So this is another way of editing the properties. And so I'm going to just replace this by whatever they have, just like that, right? Going to use whatever they have on their own and see if something appears here. If not, I guess I'm doing something wrong with yeah, this. It's just the first time I try it. So I'll at least maybe the property type is not the correct one. Yeah. No, it should be lists logically. But maybe I need to display other things. I don't know. Yeah, it's best to read the documentation first. Yeah, icon landmark. Maybe I need to add an icon. Okay, let me give it another try and then I will call it. I will stop there. Okay, I have a landmark. Does it display? Oh, frustrating not to be able to find it out in a second. Coordinator stored unless it constitute. Yeah, anyways. Text property list. Okay, let's stop with that. I will let you explore. I will add the link to the chat so that you can check it out on your own. And yeah, we'll discuss maps once I know more about those. All right, let's get back to the plan. So yeah, we've discussed quite a lot already. Don't know if you guys have more time for me, but I do have more time, so I can continue. We have seen attachments, so you can organize all of the contents in. Yeah, you're welcome. No worries. You can organize everything however you see fit. As I said in the Obsidian Starter Kit, I've included the follow structure that I'm using. One question that I often get, especially with people that are using AI today, is do we need folders at all? And on the internet, you will find different opinions about this. My opinion is that at this point in time, even if AI is getting better and better, and I'm using it a lot, I don't think that using fewer folders is a good thing for AI right now. Thing is that AI tools are, when you are using AI tools locally, most of those are using the file system to navigate and find stuff. And so you can point AI at your knowledge base and get it to read the content. But imagine if you put everything in a single folder and then ask AI, find me all of the information about X. That is going basically to read all of the files in your vault. That might work and should probably work at a small scale. But if you have a large vault, if you have tons of information of different types, then this is not going to work. And so I do think that at this point in time, at least, the current structure of the starter kit is still valuable because not only can I point AI at my knowledge base, but I can, for instance, tell it, I'm sorry, I should share again. I can point AI at my knowledge base and tell it to, for instance, find all of the quotes that I have about something, or find all of the book notes that I have on some topic, or all of the information that I have about a specific person, or the current progress of my tasks, or what I've been doing in the past week. And you could do that if you had a single folder with everything, but having this isolation, so say for instance, my daily notes here, they are all organized here inside of those folders per year, per week, sorry. So if I want to ask AI, okay, can you check my journal and give me a summary of whatever I have noted during this past week? AI is able to do that really, really easily because the structure, assuming it knows about it, it can navigate easily. Even if without documentation, it works quite well. But I do have detailed documentation about the system. So just coming back to that's actually at the end of the presentation, but I can switch back to that in a second. We have in the starter kit, I have included real detailed documentation. So in the latest version, version 3.0 of the starter kit, the folder structure itself has always been documented, but I've pushed it a bit forward. I've actually added folders instead of reducing folders, but specifically because I want to be able to leverage my knowledge base with AI. And the goal is not to replace my writing or replace my thinking, but to augment it. So be able to easily add information, find information, summarize, whatever I want. I can do all of that with AI, thanks to the fact that I have this structure. So the structure is well documented. All of the folders have clear explanations about what they contain, why they exist, what they are useful for, etc. So how is the journal organized, or are resources organized, things like that. It's all documented and all there. Also, the system has strong support for node types. So this is something that I strongly believe in. It's the fact that your knowledge base should have clearly defined node types. And actually in the starter kit, I have included many types of nodes that I use a lot, very often. So we have bases, we have book notes, we have daily notes, we have expressions, quotes, folder nodes. I will not mention for now, but different types of nodes are supported by the system. Each specific type of node has a specific tag, and actually whether you are using the Obsidian Starter Kit or not doesn't matter. This is a recommendation of mine. Do have specific tags for that. First, define your node types. Define a clear structure and try to keep it minimal if you can, depending on how you're going to use and leverage it with or without AI. And for each node type that you identify, then associate it with a specific tag. So as we saw, tags are really useful to find information easily. So if I want, for instance, to find my daily notes, I shown you earlier that you can use tag and then just use that. And so now I can do this and say year 2025, and I would be able to find the notes that have been taken during that year. I just have to find back the syntax. It's property, yeah. So year or date, then if it's year or date, yeah, like this. So now I have all of the notes for 2025, and you can go further. And so if you combine metadata properties and tags and have specific node types with specific tags, then finding information is going to be really easy to do, whether you do it yourself or whether you do it with the help of AI. Okay, so as I said, the different types of nodes are here and documented. You have the folder structure, you have The templates I mentioned a bit, but this is really key to my approach of knowledge management currently, because I do not want each day, let's imagine that I did not have my templates. Then on Thursday, I would come here and say, okay, this is 2025, 10:30, and I take notes. There are links maybe, and the next day you have a different structure. And so templating to me is key to first consistency and organization, and it helps in many, many ways. It's also a time saver, a huge time saver. So here I switch back to the source mode, but doesn't matter. I'm going to invoke the daily note template again. Never. Boom, that's done. That takes a second. Just have to create a note. Let's say that I want to create a new note now for a meeting, 10, 20, whatever. I can use the meeting template. Boom, that's done. And here I have you note people about notes about people. I can also link between the the things. I've lost my trail of thought. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that those node types map. So each node type as a tag, as a specific area in the folder structure where those are stored, so they are well organized, and each has a template associated, or most of those have. You're welcome, Justin. Hope that you will get to see the rest. I'd be interesting, but thank you for coming. That was my pleasure. Okay, let's get back to the plan, see if I missed something important about the features. So we saw Basis, we saw Canvas. I actually demonstrated the web viewer. The settings I'm not going to cover, and I'm just going back to the point I made about the fact that you shouldn't fiddle too much with the system. That's not the goal, really. I mean, you have hundreds, if not thousands, of settings, and even things that are hidden beneath the covers. You can customize pretty much anything you want inside of Obsidian. You can change the fonts, you can change the colors, the themes, you can install themes, and it's all nice, and it's all great. But most people I've seen who dive too much into all that, they just lose sight of the fact that this is not about the tool. This is not about the looks, the features, the whatnot. I mean, some features do matter, but what's most important is actually doing something useful with the information. And to me, that's the double-edged sword of Obsidian. Obsidian is crazy powerful, crazy customizable, and you will see in a second what I mean by that if you don't know about community plugins yet. But it's so extensible and so customizable that you can basically waste your time with it. It's just another way to procrastinate. People I see on Reddit who brag about having built this and that and that. I mean, yeah, some people do it with a clear purpose in mind and actually leverage and benefit from having done that effort. But many just give up after some time because they realize they haven't been taking notes, they haven't built their habit. And so that's quite sad. That's my point. Just you use frustration as a way to progress your knowledge about Obsidian and the ways you can use it. Start simple. This may be the most important point of today's presentation is start with daily notes. That's my number one recommendation in my knowledge management course. You should just create one daily note each day, whether you have a template or not. I do recommend templates, but you can start simple. You can start with a simple note like this, where you just write things down for that day, and that's it. And you do this for 30 days. And after 30 days, you have 30 days of thinking that you have started doing within the tool. That's really valuable because you can capture information about things that you want to do, the things that you have learned, the things that you've done, the things that you've discovered, the challenges that you've faced. Just that as an entry point is actually quite powerful. I mean, that's a great entry point. And if you look at my own daily notes, you can see that it's exactly what I'm doing. So here I have my plan for today. this might not all be done today, but doesn't matter. I'm going to roll over those to the next days if they are not completed. I can capture stuff. So today I took some notes that I've been delaying for a long while about Arch Linux and Omarchy. Omarchy is just a new Linux operating system or variant of operating system that I wanted to give a try to. I've avoided wasting time with Linux for many years now because before that I'm a tech geek, so you might have noticed. But yeah, technology is my passion. So yeah, anyways, I just took some notes and those are there. I know they are tied to time. And so that means that if I explore my knowledge and I find this node back, then just looking at the linked mentions here, I can see that, oh, wait, it was, oh, yeah, I did that around that time or at that specific time. This is not information that you can retain. But by adding it to your daily notes first, it's easy. It's done for you. So what I do during the day, I could just check back in time. Okay, so this is a daily note from a few days back. I haven't had time to just extract stuff from there into specific notes. Doesn't matter. I mean, the idea of using daily notes as your daily driver is that you can quickly capture information without having to waste time creating nodes. So think about this. My recommendation, the way I use Obsidian is always open on my computer on a screen. I can easily switch to it. It takes me a second and I see this window and I can type things down. I do it all day long. So if I've tried Omarchy, so it's using Wayland and Hyperlands, but I don't know what's that, so maybe I should go back to it. Oh, but wait, I do have notes. It's using Arch Linux. I have some notes like that. And I can type this down, and you just can do this all day long, and you don't have to create notes. You can just capture raw information in there. And that's what I do. You can see it here. So while I was trying to learn Omarchy this weekend, I noted the fact that they had different tools included that I found interesting, some that I never heard about before, like the Oxide. Okay, at some point, this probably will turn into a node in my system because that's information I want to keep around. It's useful, just like I did for those. But I did not have time when I was busy capturing this information, going about and do this. And okay, I have the Oxide. Wait, I need to create this. Okay, and then I need to click on it, and then I do. It's going to be a permanent node. I don't know. I don't have time for this now. See what I mean? It's just a barrier. It's just a step that takes your attention and your time away from whatever you're doing. And so my recommendation is, one, use daily notes as your daily driver, as the place you use to capture stuff, but don't waste your time directly trying to convert raw notes like these to separate notes. Because if you do that, then you're just going to waste your time and your attention, lose your focus. When I was doing the installation of Omarchy, my goal was to install and configure it. It was not to capture those nodes and link them together. That's like play, basically. So yeah, that was my point about this. And actually, the approach I recommend, and I will include the link in the show notes. The approach I recommend is what I call the knowledge ingesting process. The idea there is that, and I think I can come back to the journaling canvas. I did explain it there. So you have all of those daily notes that you have taken. Let's say that you have taken a week worth of notes. So you have the notes for Monday, the notes for Tuesday. Maybe you didn't write anything down on Wednesday, don't know, whatever. You have all of those. They are in raw form or not. So maybe some of those already have the links extracted to separate notes if those made sense and if you had time to do it. Maybe some others don't, like this one. Bad example, but anyways, I can invent one. So blah, blah, blah. I have taken raw notes during that week that I didn't have time to extract. See, now the process I recommend using is at the end of the week or at the end of the month, whatever frequency you prefer. In my case, it's weekly because that keeps notes somewhat fresh in my mind. What I do is create a weekly note. So it's just another level. So coming back here to the structure, we have daily notes, but we have also weekly notes in the structure, and monthly, quarterly, yearly, etc. You can roll up the information just as you see fit. But now, if I were to do the same, I could, in my daily notes, so again, part of the starter kit, you see the link there to the week note. And the weekly note does not exist yet, but I can create it. And so I can do this weekly. And this is exactly what I would do to haul up the information and extract it into separate notes. So it's basically creating the weekly note. That's what I just did a second ago. And then going through all of the notes for that period of time. So in this case, 1 week, and seeing for each, what can I do, or what should I do, or what do I want to do with this piece of information. So let's do the exercise just for a second. So we have Monday. What happened on Monday? I have no idea anymore. It feels like it's been years. So, okay, I've done some things. Usually what I do with things that I've done is I roll them up. So I just copy and paste. I don't care about the duplication of information at this level. It doesn't matter. But I have space for achievements. Usually I organize those per project, but it doesn't matter. Let's keep it simple. I just add my achievements. Okay, that's what I did on that day. Okay, I learned some things. That's interesting. Oh, there was a quote by Naval Raffigan that I found interesting. Okay, that one I want to keep because I like that. So I get a quote that was 5-star. It's from Naval. And at this time, I can take a bit more time to actually go in there and create those kind of things, those kinds of links, and adding metadata and links and references and other things. This is the right point in time because I'm doing it in bulk. And so it's not taking my attention away. I'm actually taking this time just to do this. And it's not just to do this, it's also to clean up, because maybe at this time, I will realize, okay, well, I took those notes, but after all, I don't care. And at that point, you have to decide. Either you just remove them. Maybe that's the best thing to do if you don't care anymore. Like, I have a concrete example. I moved some notes here about the fish shell, technology. And I realized that, well, after all, I'm never going to use it. It's been 10 years since I've been thinking about trying it out. I'm not going to do it. It's gone. But at the same time, I could decide, okay, no, it's actually interesting, and I should now turn this into a note, and I keep those around. And then I extract the content from the raw note into, I don't know, literature note or something else. Okay, I'm just doing it in a rough way, but just so you get to see the approach. But basically, once you're done with 1 day's worth of notes, you should end up with basically this. Or maybe you keep a few of those there if you want, doesn't matter. But the one thing that matters is that for those notes that you have decided to extract for that specific day, you keep those links there, because it means that those notes are all still linked to that day. But you can also, inside of the weekly note, copy those over. So 27th, voila. And this is exactly what I do. Let's say not each week because I don't have time, but yeah, every other week I do this. So now, why is that useful? As I said, it links knowledge to time. So it creates a link between those ideas and the time when those were introduced in your knowledge base, or updated. So if I add a note about Arch Linux from a few days back or from a few years back even, if I link it to today, then maybe that note will then be linked to make it more concrete. That note might have links from multiple points in time instead of a single one. And so going here, I can see that it's indeed the case. So this note about Cloud Code, I've learned or started thinking about Cloud Code back in March this year, and I have updated that note multiple times since. And I've included it in some weekly notes, and some other things. Okay, that was just for the example, but it's just to give you an idea about the process or approach I recommend. So the goal is to capture easily, not waste your time creating notes, tagging, linking, and whatnot, just capturing the information, linking it to time, and then using reviews and weekly notes and monthly notes, etc., to just roll the information over. And the end result of doing that is that you have from one place, from any node, you can see when it was introduced, when it was updated. You can find things back from different points. So you can not only search for nodes, but actually it was in 2025, I think, that I did this. So maybe you could open then the note about 2025 and just look into there and search. And that becomes much easier to find information. Okay, one more thing now. This is going to be, don't worry if Obsidian crashes. I'm going to launch the graph view just to show you what I meant by the fact that the graph is nice, but at some point, it's just a toy at this point in time. I mean, it could evolve into something more useful. Okay, yeah. Don't know if you can see my my global graph. It's a nightmare. It's super slow. My computer is dying because of this. But basically, it's all of that knowledge and links and whatnot. So I have maps of content. Those are specific nodes that link to many other nodes in the system. So those are hubs to the content. And so as you can see, like this one is pointing to all of the maps. So it's a map of maps. But that's nice, that's beautiful, whatever, but it's not useful. I cannot do anything useful with this. Actually, the one thing that is useful with this view is first seeing those elements at the frontier that don't have any links. Those are orphans. Those are sub-nodes in your systems. Those are nodes that uh, have not received any link. In this case, it makes sense because this is a transcript of a video. But in some cases, it's just a mistake or something that you forgot to do for a node. A second usefulness, I would say, of this is, as you can see, that the links with time are actually creating clusters of information in the knowledge base. And actually, the graph view enables noticing the clusters that are growing. But of course, if you are taking the notes yourself and not letting AI create everything for you, then you know the structure because you know where you are spending time taking notes. Anyways, well, I just hope that I can still close the graph view because it's killing my computer right now. Okay, settings I've skipped over. Plugins, maybe we can come back to this in a second. The recommendations we discussed. Another recommendation is using Git. So it's quite technical. If you are not used to using technical tools, then this might be too much, but it's actually quite valuable. And I want to show you this. So since the beginning of the discussion, you saw that I edited my bases, I edited my notes, and I didn't seem to care while it's my knowledge base. The thing is that I'm using something that is called Git. It's a versioning tool that is made for software developers, for programmers. But actually, anyone can use it. And it's not only for code and software development. It works perfectly with Obsidian and Obsidian files because all your nodes are just Markdown. Markdown is just text. And so Git is perfect for it. So this is a visual client for Git. So don't make the mistake of thinking that what I'm showing you is Git Kraken. No, the base tool that enables what you see here is called Git. And this is a visual tool to manage Git. Okay, I don't have time to explain Git in details. We can actually do a session specific about Git in the context of knowledge management, I think that would be quite interesting. But I just want to show you the gist of it. So here, what you see are the current changes in my Obsidian Vaults. Having this is super useful. Why? Because first, I can get to see exactly what was changed in every single file in my vault that I have not saved. So in this case, it's just a timestamp change. Doesn't matter. Okay, I can keep this. This is a test node. Okay, I created this one earlier while demonstrating the base Obsidian features. Now, if I right-click here, I can actually delete that. I don't need this thing. And okay, I have added that. Doesn't matter. I don't want to do that. So these are automated changes. Doesn't matter. So okay, I'm not going to go through all of this now, but this is something I do regularly to basically keep my vault in good shape. So in this case, it enables me to roll back all of the changes that we've made that I don't want to make. But it also enables coming back in time. So if I have a node that I have broken, so let's say I've deleted all of the text, I don't have backups for some reason, but I do have this Git thing available and I've saved the node before, I can restore the previous state of any file in the system. This is great. There's a versioning for each and every file in the system. Yeah. Anyways, see, I've created that one, same thing. That's not the right time to do it. And I can just clean my vault. So after this talk, I will come back to this tool and I will restore my vault to the previous state. So like the action space that we edited earlier, I don't want to break it for myself. So I will restore it to the previous state. And also here, you can see the history of all of the changes that were made. So yeah, it's too technical, but basically each line there is a commit, and a commit in Git is a set of changes. And so this specific commit that I created earlier today included my preparation for the workshop. This is when I have added the content that we are going through right now. And I also published some of those notes. Whatever. Hope that you found this useful. And if you are interested, just tell me and we can organize a session dedicated to Git. There's a lot more to say about this. But it's definitely valuable. So I consider Git as one of the ways I use to back up my notes. And it's the first one I rely on when I need to recover files, because that's the easiest. It's not the only thing. So it's another recommendation. So if you start using a knowledge management tool like Obsidian or any other seriously, do take backups and actual backups. And keep in mind, if you're not technical or whether you're technical or not, that synchronizing nodes across devices is not creating backups. It's not because I copy my notes to my phone that I have a backup of my notes. The reason why is that sync systems are mostly automated. And so if you break something on your phone and it synchronizes back to your computer, then your notes are doomed. And so it not only replicates good things, but also bad things. That's why you need actual backups, actual safety copies of your information. But again, it's a bit for another day. Okay, and last point, I will take maybe 10 more minutes for plugins. That's words to just only take that. But maybe we can also do a session specific to plugins later. As I said in the beginning of the discussion, one of the main benefits of Obsidian is that it supports plugins. So here I went to the settings. I have the core plugins. So these are extensions that are actually built into Obsidian, and you can enable and disable any of those. There are some that I'm not using, some other ones that I've replaced by other things, but these are built in. So the canvas that we discussed and the basis, you can see those are built-in plugins. You can enable and disable those. But now the nicest thing about Obsidian is that you have community plugins. And these plugins are, as the name indicates, created and shared by the Obsidian community. And the Obsidian community is the number one feature of Obsidian because it's growing fast. There are thousands of developers, there are hundreds of thousands of users, and there are now thousands of plugins that you can use and install. At this time, I see that there are 2,600 plugins available in the community plugins list. This list is huge. You can filter it. You can search, for instance, for periodic whatever. You can select a plugin, and if you select a plugin, then you can install it. And if you have installed it, you need to enable it. So let me do this quickly. I'm going to install the Smart Typography plugin, enable it. Now it's enabled in my Vault. And sometimes, but not always, you can also customize the parameters of the settings. So here, if I go to options, I have dedicated screen, configuration screen for that plugin. And the way it appears, so you have the community plugins space where you manage the installation, where you can update plugins, where you can enable or disable those. And if they have settings, then they have added entries to that list. Now, I mentioned that the Obsidian Starter Kit comes with also plugins. The idea is that I have basically curated, based on my own practice and experience, the plugins that I thought are needed or are at least most valuable for most people. It's also opinionated. I mean, I have made my own choices based on what I liked. So some of those are specific, but generally speaking, the plugins are generally useful, let's say. So I will add the link here. Some plugins. What did I do wrong? Yeah, it's because I have too many images. So this is the list of plugins that are included in the Obsidian Starter Kit. As you can see, it's quite a lot. It's not something that I like. I actually intend to replace some of those, not all of those, but some of those by a plugin that I'm building myself. Because that brings me to a point that I want to make about Obsidian community plugins. There are 2 points actually. So first is many points. the more plugins you add to Obsidian, the slower it will get. So don't get overboard adding tons of plugins. At some point, things break, and it's just going to slow things down to a crawl. So not a great test of ideas. Second, consider that each plugin is created by someone in the community or a group of people in the community. And so, the guy that has built the advanced URI plugin that you see there, Vincent, I don't know him. You don't know him. Maybe he's a good guy, maybe he's not. He's been trusted by the Obsidian team to enable his plugin, but that happened at one point in time. Maybe he just pretended to be a good guy so that he could get his plugin into the store so that you can install it and use it. And then he puts a virus or anything inside of it. That will happen. And the more Obsidian gets used, the more wary you should be of installing additional plugins. The plugins are great, but you have to consider that they have full access to your computer using your own identity. That means they can do anything to your Obsidian Vault, but that's the least of your worries. It can actually access all of your file system. It can create files, it can delete files, it can rename files, it can modify those, do anything that you can do on your computer, basically. Unless if you're using some systems, some operating system, or some configuration to isolate Obsidian more strictly. But just consider that the security of plugins is something to consider. So don't install too many plugins. Install plugins that are widely used in the community, so you can see this when you install those. When you browse, you have the number of usages, installations, and there are 2 sides to this. So first is it's vetted by the community, because if it's been downloaded and used so many times, you would know quickly if that plugin gets hacked. But at the same time, it's also a good target for hackers. So no magic solutions there apart from limiting the number of plugins that you install. One more thing about plugins is that by default, there is a restricted mode in Obsidian. So plugins will not be enabled by default. And so if you get the Obsidian Starter Kit and start using it, you first have to disable the restricted mode before the plugins become available and enabled and usable. Basically, the fact that that setting is there is because plugins are risky. That's why I mentioned it again. Okay. I think we are going to lack time to explore many plugins, but I do want to at least show you a few. I will include in the resources of the event the notes I have about the ones that I'm a fan of, or the most popular one in the community. You will also find links to the official list of plugins, also these nice websites that provide stats about Obsidian plugins. It's also a nice way to discover those. You will have the list of included plugins in the starter kit just for inspiration if you don't want to use it. And also a page I have that lists all of the plugins I recommend. This is just a subset. But just quickly going through the list. First is the periodic notes plugin. I will not go through everything. I just want to mention some. The periodic notes plugin is the plugin that enables having these kinds of things. So here I have a calendar with little dots there, and these are days on which I have taken more notes and have links and things like that. And so you can create daily notes directly from this calendar, and it's going to do it and create it, and in this case, apply the template automatically. So it's a nice thing for user experience. And additionally, but that's not the only way, but additionally, what this plugin does is automatically organize the notes, the periodic notes, to where they belong. And so just going to demonstrate so you saw it, but basically it knows for each type of periodic note, so daily, weekly, etc., the exact structure for the file names, the template to use, and where to put those. And so it's a great plugin because it makes it a breeze to create and use daily notes and weekly, and etc. Calendar we just saw. It's actually a second plugin that integrates with periodic notes. Excalidraw I mentioned, really that's one of the best plugins out there. Definitely recommend. Mind maps, also nice, enables viewing any node as a mind map. So if you have like indented things here, I would have this parent and this child. Templater, it's my favorite plugin, most powerful there is in Obsidian, or almost. So templater, and pay attention to this. Here I'm in the comments palette. You can see templates and you can see templater. So templates is a built-in plugin of Obsidian. Templater is the plugin I'm mentioning. So this one is a community plugin. The other one is built-in. So templates, you can see it's right there. It's not the same thing. The fact is that the templater plugin is very, very powerful in comparison to the other one. So let me just show you an example of template. Again, we could do a session on templating because it's a bit complex, some programming involved in some cases. But you can see that we can use expressions. So in this case, I'm inserting, using this syntax, the title of the note to use directly, because it's template for daily notes. So this is going to be a date. And so I add the date there. There I'm transforming the file title, which is the date, to a certain format, year, whatever. And so templater is nice because you can actually, if you're a software developer or technically inclined, you can actually program within those. And so, for instance, I have an example maybe for meeting notes. A simpler example, I mean. For meeting notes, I have certain rules about the naming of those. And based on the name of the node, I can program and identify the different properties. I can define where to move the node to. And you can actually go super far with this because it's actually a programming environment. And when I realized this, I started having fun. But here, basically, what I'm doing is writing a program that I can execute anytime I want that can generate stats for my vault. I've also created one for publishing, and this one applies modifications I need or want to my notes when I publish those on the web. Yeah. Anyways, don't want to dive too deep into this, but basically, Templator is the engine that supports applying templates to notes with quite some features included. And again, these templates, they are all part of the Obsidian Starter Kit, along with the basis and the structure. I've built all of those, and I'm using those, as you saw, all day long. So they are battle tested, let's say. And the last plugin, and then we'll call it a day, I think, because it's just too much otherwise. I do want to do a session on task notes. Just that alone is crazy. Maybe I'll take 5 minutes to discuss it. So we saw Templator. Now I want to discuss these two, data view and data view serializer. So you might have noticed earlier that I have this ugly block there. Now notice that if I switch to the reading view or the editing view, I do not see that. I just see the output of that. And these are the notes that I have created today. Don't know if it's correct, but I do think so. It's kind of weird. I guess it's because yes, that's normal. It's just because I've touched the files today. But basically, the way I create those links is through those queries. And there are two ways you can do that. You can actually do this. So data view plugin is what enables what I'm doing now. So we have data view, and then you type a query. And then if you switch to, it just does this for you. So basically you have some query that does something to find information from, in this case, a certain folder in the vault where there is a certain date, format, or whatever. And then it just outputs a live view. Now you will stumble upon the data view plugin as soon as you want to query your nodes. Obsidian Basis, as we saw, enables doing that. The advantage of data view for certain cases is that you have a very powerful query syntax with data view that you may not have with Obsidian Basis. And also some representations of the information that you might not get in the other site. Generally speaking, I would say just use Obsidian Basis as much as you can, best in class, whatever. Now, one thing to consider, it's actually quite important, is that the data view queries that you see like this. So this is a data view query. So the data view plugin is the one that is able to understand that text, that query, and to execute it and then to render it as something. Now, if you open this particular node within another text editor, all you will get is this, not the data. And this is something that has bugged me a lot and that pushed me to build myself another plugin that is called the Data View Serializer plugin. It's included in the starter kit as well, and that's why I'm mentioning it. But basically, that plugin, as you saw, it takes the same query that Data View supports, and I just broke it. And what it does is that instead of displaying a live view, it actually serializes the output returned by data view for that query as Markdown. And now the benefit of having that, and that's why I have included it in the starter kit, is that if you open that node with another text editor, so let's take a scenario, 5 years in the future, Obsidian is dead for some reason, it's not usable anymore, it's not working, all you have are your Markdown files. Then with this, okay, you will have some noise around, but at least the data, the output of the query is there. And that's valuable. And that's why I'm using this and why I'm recommending. In the starter kit, I have included such queries at different places. So I think that for book notes, for instance, we have also the same. I'm getting tired. Actually, yeah, didn't take notes, but you can see that for quotes here, I have included that, which enables listing all of the quotes, so hence the type quote here, that have a link to the book right there. Anyways, I think that was maybe too much information at once, but I hope that you have learned a few things along the way. I guess that the beginning was maybe slow if you already knew about Obsidian, but yeah, we can do more advanced sessions about the starter kit if you want to understand what's underneath the covers, if you want to do it yourself or understand how to create templates or things like that. And same for plugins. I mean, yeah, there's a lot more to say about all of those. There are many valuable things in there that save a ton of time, and that's why I have included different plugins in the starter kits because they like this notebook plugin that replaces or complements the file explorer with the tags and the favorites, etc. That's super useful. Calendar, super useful. This one enables managing tags at scale and renaming tags on all your nodes. So if you realize, okay, this tag is wrong, I need to rename it, I can do it. It's not supported or not easy to do out of the box. And so, yeah, those plugins that are included in Starter Kits cover many different use cases and needs. So we couldn't discuss too much about the Starter Kit systems, but just one word about those, and I will leave you with that. Is that the Obsidian Starter Kit not only provides the structured templates and the automations and whatnot, but also, in addition to the basis, actual systems around the knowledge. So my goal is not just to provide, a stupid tool, let's say, but something that really helps you leverage your knowledge base and grow it in the best possible way. And so that's why you have the templating system. So there's auto node filing. So I don't know if you know this, but each time I created a node, so if I were to create a literature node or a permanent node, I think I've created Docsite earlier. You can see that it's not in the root folder. It went to a very, very specific location. This is fully automated by the starter kit, just so that you don't have to think about, okay, this node, it's this, it should go there. That's wasted time. And it's just supported by that system out of the box. Yeah, anyway, many other things. we can have one more session maybe about the starter kit systems, because I think that some of those are really valuable, like the one that I quickly gave a glance about the action system. Anyways, that's too much for today. Let's stop here. Don't know if you have questions for me that you were waiting to ask, but I can't wait a few minutes and answer any questions that you might have.